Hey guys, thank you for coming to Jay's Modeling Adventures, Part 6, Model Meaner. And today we got a few things on the board. We got a custom bear guy, and we got a custom Gagoon we're going to be working on tonight. And yeah, that's what we're going to be tearing into. It's going to be a fun one. So, let me bring up, I need a reference for the custom bear guy because it is going to be a Venom custom, as in Venom from hit Marvel comic Venom. Not the movie version, but the comic version. I just need a good reference. And I think I found one. Just let me get my paint ready. Just sorry about that. I'm just dealing with something real quick. Okay, so we need a white paint. And for the Gagoon, it's gonna be a World War II based met alternate history. So it's gonna be Patriot themed. Not Patriot. It's gonna be Patton themed. So if you just bear with me while I adjust the camera to get this in the right angle, because the stand doesn't seem to want to work tonight. Having slight technical difficulty, so bear with me, please. For some odd reason, my laptop did not want to bring up a reference picture to Venom, and unfortunately, I do not have one. So I'm just trying to pull it up. Alrighty, so here we go. I have to bring it up on my phone now, which is unfortunate. But it's not too bad. It could, in fact, be worse. Could, in fact, be worse. Oh god, why got that going? Hold on. I'm terribly sorry about this. Okay, so while I wait for that to load, this is the bear guy. Oh, I did not want to. Hold on, do I need to get another lamp? I probably do. The camera did not want the camera. Hey, the toxic berry. It's my dudette, dudette. I don't know if you prefer your dude as a gender neutral term, but hey, thanks for showing up tonight. I am greatly appreciative. Minor technical difficulties, because my laptop don't want to bring up Google, and I need a picture of Venom, comic Venom, not movie Venom. As much as I love movie Venom with Tom Hardy. Let me see. Do we have one? I think we do. Alrighty, we're gonna work on this. That's still not enough light. That's still. We'll just do it like this. I'll just work around the camera. So, this is a little. Why did this still feel awfully dark? Okay, Emma, what is you doing? I dropped this thing earlier, so I'm hoping it did not break a little. Alright, so I apologize if it's a tad bit dark. Today I'm trying not to drop lamps. News at 10. Alright, here we go. We're good now. This should be good as it's gonna get. So we got our bear, and we got a Venom reference. And so, I mean, this is still going to be a tiny bit freehand because every Venom is a little bit different. Gotta choose eyebrows. So I'm gonna be going with probably something a little bit like this. Not too bad, and it's not too wide and it's not too thick. It's small. And crap, I didn't realize, but this white paint is empty. So this bear guy is gonna have to wait till I get more paint tomorrow. Big oof. This, folks, is what happens when you don't check your paints prior to a live stream. So I guess today's just gonna be a custom Gelgog. Gelgog? I feel like I keep on mispronouncing that, but hey. Custom Gelgog day. And so we're gonna be doing some really basic weathering right now. And I'm just, cause this is already like, I'm not doing any specific camo on this. This is just gonna be a plain basic drab green, which is what a lot of patterns, Germans, and all sorts of tanks come in. Cause much like my custom World War II German mecha, such as this custom German Managnac, that one. This is done up in the style of a Panzer, a Jägerpanzer to be exact. I modeled it after my Tamiya Jägerpanzer that I did a while back. And so much like this one, but this is going to be an American themed. I'm not done fully with all the American parts because I got the shield and I got the German one. But so this shield I'm turning, and I gotta sand it down a bit, but I ran out of sandpaper. This is gonna be very patriotic. Think 1940s America. Patriotic, like with the propaganda and crap. It's gonna be like something off of the 1940s propaganda poster. You know, hey, go fight for Germans. So I cut it a little to mimic the Captain America shield. Just a tiny bit. I'm not gonna do any divots. I took off the port view and I'm gonna be filling in these divots to make it nice and smooth. And then I'm gonna be painting it up like an American flag. So they're gonna be like, I'm probably gonna do it this way where I have the blue and then I have some stripes, the red, white going down. But this is what I got so far. And for the Gagoon, it's gonna be weathered, and I'm gonna try and find my pattern decals because I do. For short side note, American tanks during World War II had white stars on the side. Most tanks have something to help them identify which country that they belong to. American tanks had a white star. That's why when you see Germans, you see patterns. They had that big white star, an identifying mark. But for this one, I'm gonna do chipping. But unlike my tanks, I feel like this one, instead of doing my typical chipping with black, I'm doing it with a gunmetal, which is a nice metallic. And then I'm gonna go in with a wash, a gunk wash, just to give it a grime look, with some rust effects and maybe some mud. Because I picture this one like it's alt history, World War II, so it's gonna be like Germany, and Germany muddy, Germany wet. It happens. And so, what I do like that, I'm just gonna take my brush. I'm gonna dab it. Gonna get a new brush. I don't want to use the brush I was using for my venom. I'm just gonna dab it now. With chipping, I recommend using a crappier brush or a piece of sponge because much like dry brushing, the chipping gonna mess up your brush. So I got this old brush that I use for my Warhammer minis for my dry brushing, and I'm just gonna kind of gently staple a little. Now, what I would have done in the terms of my German one, which I can show you with the shield, since this Haga base coat, it's German yellow, the base coat of the camo, German yellow, and then you got the dark green and you got the dark brown. What I do on the dark brown and the dark green, I chip a little with the yellow so you get that base coat paint, and then I go in with the gunmetal. And when I do the chipping on the yellow, I just go in with the gunmetal because there's not going to be a color underneath the yellow besides for the metal. And that's how I chip. And I do it on my tanks. But tanks and modeling Gunpla is a little different when it comes to weathering because scaling is trickier, and you can't find weathering photos on Gundams because they don't exist, unfortunately. Much like I would love giant mechas, they aren't a thing, and it's a tragedy. But I do love tanks. And the reason why I'm doing the chipping first is because this is a very shiny gunmetal, and I feel like after I do the wash and the gunk, that it's gonna tone down the shine, but still keep the metallic tones, which is nice. And now it probably would be better to do this with a brush, with a sponge, because you get more randomized effects. But when I went to pick up sponges this week, my local Walmart and grocery store were out of sponges, like I typically use. But it's a tragedy. Now I am looking for a kit because I do want to do a whole nationwide World War II. What would happen if we had mechas during World War II? And I think I'm looking for a kit that I think would kind of represent a T-55, which is a Russian-based World War II tank. It's an okay tank, not the best that come out of Russia, but for a while it was very fast to produce and manufacture. And I want to say that it could hold a crew of four or five. And now what you could always do with this too is when you do the paint, you just wipe the like to dry brush. You just wipe off a lot of the paint, then you just kind of go over so it catches the eggs. Kind of like the painted metal doors that have been stuck quite a few times, so the paint on the very edge is starting to chip. That's the best way I could really describe this. Let me see if I can get a better. Wait, hold on. And I'm not trying to I'm not happy with that. I did too much on that spot, but that's okay. I could probably cover up some of it with a rust and gunk wash. Now, what I use for my gunk wash is a very basic imitator wash. And I know tank guys, they do technique with oil paints and all that, which I haven't tried yet because when I normally paint, I don't like oil paint, so I never buy them. So I never have any on hand. So when the whole shit and shebang of what's been going on is done, I'm gonna pick some up. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can do it with a better brush. See, and when I tell you that dry brushing and chipping really messing up your brush, this is a brush that I use for dry brushing for a week compared to what it should typically look like, which would be this. So don't throw away any old brush you own just when it starts getting like this because it still has many purposes. And I'm mainly going to focus a little bit of the chipping on the edges. Because what I have pictured this tank isn't very old, but it's also not off the assembly line either. So it's seen a tiny bit of action, but nothing that would devastate it. Just like little chip you'd get from trying to pilot a 60-foot tall machine. Just something very basic, very simple. Very bada bing, bada boom. Just catch the edge a little. And now I do know some tank guys really go on with the chipping. And I don't have a problem with if you want to make it look like something has seen heavy action. But generally a tank that really hasn't seen action isn't going to be advertently chipped. But I also think on a kit like this, the feed would get chipped the most, just by basic necessity. Very gentle dabs. You don't have to press too hard on this to get a nice chipping done. Now for normal tanks, what you could do is a pin wash, which highlights all the nooks and crannies which I think I might do just to highlight some of the seam lines and crap. But I think when I gunk wash it, they're gonna get highlighted anyways. So I'm not 100% entirely sure. How that gonna look? Oh shit! Oh shit, Julio. Julio, don't you have people to bully today? No kids to make no kids to make you cry? Well, fun fact, for my next swap bet is gonna be out. It's gonna be a strawberry with a butt. We're talking thick. Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal thick. Hey Barry, I work on a farm. I've seen some strawberries straight up looking like they packing something. Oh, and Julio, I found his address, and I've never been more proud in my life. So if y'all ever need a private investigator, you can hit me up. I should put that on my resume, man. Little J, private eye. And fun fact, I also have another Managanac. Managnac. I can never pronounce these things on the way because I really like the design. And I think I could do another tank kit, but instead of like it being a World War II themed, I think you could get a nice little Tyran 5, which is fun fact if you're not tired of hearing me talk about tanks, is a Israeli modification of the Soviet T-55, one that I was talking about earlier. Israel had it in use between, I want to say 1975, between 1990. And it was a decent desert faring tank. I mean, they retired it, so it's no longer in service because technology technology advancing, and Israel got some new tank coming out, and I've seen pictures, and oh boy, if I ever hit the millions, I'm getting me a tank, and it's probably gonna be an Israeli tank. Now, what I think I might do is I might add a little scrape, just to say, hey, it's a tank, it's bopping around, it's a gun put kit, alt history World War II, it be bopping around Germany. Lots of freaking trees in Germany. Warrior Private Eye, Mother of Severed, Fight with Dragons. Huh. Oh, you spoil me too much with the compliments. I am nothing but a simple farmhand and a degree. Well, not even a degree. And fun fact, I also added on some parts to this kit, so what I have just sitting around is a bunch of spare parts from me doing my one 72 kits. And so I'm like, all right. I have like half a box worth of those. So I've just been like slapping them on. And you can tell with the Maganac. Am I now pronouncing it right? Maganac? And so like I did with the World War II tank, I added on parts like I got the leftover tracks and I got the fuel tank and I just got some random little bits. Like I like the horn on this dude and it's supposed to be a cannon. It didn't come out looking like a cannon. But you got a little small turret parts that you just slap on, little storage boxes, tires, little tires, more leftover tracks that you can kind of just add in to make it look like armor. Or who knows, maybe there's actual tanks in this little world and they're fighting Nazis. And maybe you just need a giant mech to carry all your tank parts. I don't know. It just be like that sometimes. Oh, Barry, you need to stop. You can't see behind the camera, but I am one happy clam. It's been a day and a half, let me tell you. So what I'm probably gonna do is I'm probably gonna stick the identifying American star on the side. If I have any, if not, I'll have to wait till I get another tank kit to put on the decal. Because I've tried painting them on before, and I'm not very good at it. White paint does not like me, which I think is going to be part of the problem when I do the Venom custom. So we just dab off any of the excess paint. We just kind of see what I do with my tanks and what you see me talk about tanks a lot. I forgot to turn my airbrush off. Oh well. Think that a lot of these skills are interchangeable. So the white paint wheel, I have tried testers. I have tried Vallejo. I have tried Army Painter War Paint White. Nothing ever seemed to like want to work out very well. Like, hold on, I can show you. Also, fun fact, it's a pattern. Like, you can tell, like, right here when I tried to do the white paint. I tried it with Visig the Vallejo one. And Visig the Tester one. And I mean, I can't paint stars in the first place. It's just trying to get it down enough to look decent was very hard. Because I lost the decals to that kit. But I might put the decal because I have been working with decals now, and it's water decals aren't as bad like I thought they were going to be. They're just a little tricky to put on. So like I have the German cross. I have a bunch of the German crosses. They send so many when you get a German tank kit, and then I have the numbers. But you don't get a whole lot of the American decals with the American kits because American tanks didn't have a whole hell of a lot on them. See, I tried it with the thin layers, but I found like keeping it in the star shape was difficult. So like I tried doing it on a little thicker, and it didn't work either. So I know Kyle said to do stencils but I'm not quite sure how I do a stencil for a star shape, and I'm kind of out of masking tape. Okay, another one of my problems. Yeah, I'll try the white gray next time. I mean, at this point, I think I'm just gonna buckle down and order some water decals. Do some dry brushing here. And the cool thing about dry brushing, it just kind of highlights. One of the chickens just tried flying out. It's Steve, goddammit. Fun fact: owning chickens is like owning the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. They're constantly plotting. They're always looking for a way out. And like, I kind of noticed something when I was removing seam lines, is that I wasn't like when I was sanding them down. I noticed that if I didn't do it completely, if I didn't sand it down smoothly completely, it kind of gave us this cool like if it looked like welded look, which I don't know if you can quite see. But the lines, you see it on a lot of the edges of the tanks, because welding in the 1940s wasn't hard, but it wasn't like as nice as if you get something welded from nowadays. Yeah, no, that's true. Pigs will eat humans. So more fun fact because you're coming into two of my specialties, homicide and farms. I feel like I should put a rating on this. I should put a rating. How do I put a rating on this? Nope, can't put a rating on this. But yes, to highlight that question, just about anything on a farm will eat you. Chickens, chickens will eat you, and they will not wait to eat you. If you have been dead for an hour, they'll just go at you. Pigs, you can get pigs to eat a whole hell of a lot. They don't know. Uh, we used to feed we used to feed the pigs at my aunt's farm because we bought them for us for food, but we kept them at my aunt's farm, and we just kind of like came up on the weekends to take care of them during the week. And we would like feed them snowballs. You know the like I don't know what to call snowballs, but they got the coconut and they got like the marshmallow, the pink coconut or the white coconut, green, depending on the time of the year. We used to feed them those like once a week as a treat. They'd eat everything but the marshmallow part, which is pretty interesting. But just about pigs will eat just about anything, and I mean everything. So in terms of like disposing a body, YouTube is probably gonna take this down. If you starve the pigs for a few days, because after a while pigs will get rowdy if you don't feed them. And if you put the bodies in with the pigs, they'll eat just about everything but the teeth. For some odd reason, they won't eat the teeth. I think it has to do with the teeth being the hardest bones in the body. Well, not bones, but tissue. Their stomach can't digest it properly, so it just passes through their system. So all you really have to do is just go through the poop and pick up the teeth, and you're just about set. Not that I am telling you to go feed people to pigs, because that would be illegal and unethical. But I'm just saying. This actually reminds me of my criminal justice classes with criminal prosecution. My professor will tell us something like when we're talking about charges and stuff. And she's like, if you're thinking about robbing something, rob a 7-Eleven over a bank. Because you won't get federal charges with a bank. With a 7-Eleven, you'll get federal charges with a bank. I've had many of those moments the past few weeks just by like explaining things that I know to people. It is wilding. Let me tell you. You learn some stuff. You really do. I mean, criminal justice degrees are mainly focused on like, hey, this is what cops do. Because I am working on my associates right now, but in the fall I start my bachelor's. But it's going to be criminal justice with a focus in criminology because I am very interested in why people commit the crimes they do and like things like recidivism rates, juvenile incarceration effects, trends in crime, crime prevention. And that's a lot of what criminologists do. I mean, from the shift in the past 30 years in criminology, it's gone from Mindhunter-esque to just, hey, this is the physical assault rate of like 2017 to, yeah. I mean, I want to say it went from Mindhunter in the 70s and 80s with Howard Tenton and the foundation of the BAU, which is the Behavioral Analysis Unit of the FBI, and them beginning to profile our serial killers like Ted Bundy, to 1990s, the Get Tough on Crime movement was from a few criminologists saying, you know, juvenile crime's going to get a 50% uptake. And we're going to see this uptake in juvenile violence like we've never seen. And they were wrong. They were really wrong. And that's why you see people like in jail for minor things. It's because a few criminologists done goofed and were wrong. Because, fun fact, juvenile crime in the past 30 years is actually down by 40%. And I know people are like, you know, maybe cops aren't just catching them enough. Oh no, cops are catching them. Juvenile probation centers are through the roof with inmates, and I really hate that they're called inmates, but they are. It's just kids just aren't violent, and it's not even violent. It's mainly things like drugs, alcohol, and I forgot the word for it. It's crimes that wouldn't apply to adults but would apply to minors, like underage drinking, smoking, gambling, and things that I hate, like running away from home, is basically illegal for kids to do. So if you're getting the crap beat up out of you by your parents and you decided you had enough and you take off, you can be booked in the system for it, which is really shitty, but that's something that I would like to take a take on later on in my career. Because oftentimes juvenile probation centers are where kids really get like involved with crime. Because there's really no separation between the degrees of the crimes that committed. Like you can have a 17-year-old who beat basically someone almost to death placed in the same area as a 12-year-old who's like maybe took a parent car for a joyride or smoked some weed, which is insane. And yeah, that's my TED talk on juvenile crime. I could go on for a while. I took a whole course on juvenile crime in like September through December, and it's still fresh. But criminology fun. It's a social science. They say it falls under sociology, but girlfriend being a prostitute in the charger. Oh yeah, no, yeah, probably get charged. And what she'll do is she'll probably be taken to the women's depend. Okay, depending on the charge. If it's a misdemeanor, she'll be taken to the local jail, local women's jail. If it's a felony, it'll be taken to a prison. They'll serve her time. I mean, luckily now, prison systems are offering like a little bit more. I mean, it's still complete crap, but they're offering more. So she might have some chances to like work on an education, maybe find a support group, but most of the time she's probably going to be tossed back into the same environment, which is darn tooting unfortunate. Yeah, there's actually we were just talking about this before lockdown about female inmates compared to male inmates. New Hampshire has one female prison, and then our state jail is a male female facility, and I guess they weren't providing like the same education offerings to the women's inmates compared to the men inmates. So I guess that was a big thing like 10 years ago. And so they like revamped the female correctional facilities so that they can get educations and they can get the same programs offered at the male facilities. It's very much whack. Especially when you take into account some of these women are pregnant. And while being incarcerated while pregnant leads to a whole nother issue because women who are pregnant in incarceration have a 57% chance of suffering postpartum depression compared to being outside of the system, which is also very whack. Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think that's something that should be legalized. I mean, it will be different. It would be a little difficult in terms of like moderation, because then you have to take into account things like HIV, AIDS, and all that. But if it ever gets figured out, I am very down for it to be legalized. What's the term? In mala prohibita? I think, which is crying that I bad because it goes against societal beliefs versus crying that I bad because they're bad in nature. Sex work isn't bad in nature, it's just against society morals, and that's why it's illegal. And you can thank the prohibition in the 1910s and the 1920s for all this hot mess, because marijuana wasn't illegal until prohibition. Anyways, thank you for coming to my criminal justice TED talk. Is there anything else you'd like to know? Maybe about the Fourth, Fifth, or 14th Amendment. I could hook you up because I am currently writing a research paper on that one. Well, investigations and confessions, which falls under the Fifth and Sixth Amendments. I'm going to do a tad bit of dry brushing on the engine, the fuel tanks. I had the fuel tanks left over from working on the M1A1 Abrams, so I just decided to smack 2 of them on there. Fun fact, true crime fun fact. Did you know in New Hampshire, if you put your trash on the sidewalk, you still have an expectation of privacy to said trash, so people can't search it, unlike other states, that if you put your trash on the sidewalk, cops can search it, no problem. Which, I mean, I don't like the fact that the privacy extends to the driveway to be a sidewalk when you're clearly throwing out the trash, but that's just my opinion. Just my little tea on the matter. Oh no, trust me, that's hot tea. I mean, my whole thing is that if weed legal in your state now, let anyone who's incarcerated for weed charges out. Like, smoking and driving, I think, should be an offense worth punishing because I know some people are like, you can still drive when you smoke, but I've seen some people get high and I would not want that. And then you have people who are just arrested because they're walking down the street and they have like an ounce of weed on them. Those people should be the ones who get out of prison when it's made legal in the state. Problem is, since it's not made legal federally, state can't do shit about it. Which is very unfortunate, and I hate it. Absolutely do. But you know how you solve that problem? Vote. Vote on politicians. A lot of shit can be dealt with. People actually went and they voted. Problem is, people stay at home because they don't want to get involved in this shit, but they really should. That's another TED Talk for another day. Tiny bit of dry brushing right here. Now when you're dry brushing, you want to make sure there's a decent amount of paint off. So what I typically do is I dab it in the paint and then I dab it a bunch of times. Like on a paper towel or like my work desk, if you can see. It just covered in paint. covered in a lot of freaking paint. And back my dry brushing spot right now. If you'd like to buy this desk, like a piece of abstract art, $45 that did not include shipping. I just found out my local art museum in Boston had a Kusama exhibit going on, a Yayao Kusama exhibit, and they're closed, and it won't be here when it reopens, and I am very, very sad. I am big sad, beyond belief. Cause it's her infinity room too, and I'm like, oh, just end it, end me. It's a tragedy. First world problems. Tabby just, what did Tabby say? Yeah, no, I know some local businesses around here that I just know aren't going to be able to open back up after this. I mean, the art museum, yeah, because it does make buco bucks. Because they have like high-end exhibits from like de Kooning and Kusama and crap. But local places are gonna get effed over hard. I'm hoping that my local is able to kind of rough it through, cause he's not doing orders over this. He's not like doing call-in orders. He's just closing down fully, which is big sad. But welcome to the Roaring '20s. We got plagues, we got depressions, we got just wait. We already had an attempt at World War III. I mean, it didn't involve the Germans, but who knows? It could have. I don't trust these. I don't trust the Germans. It's getting too much World War II. Getting too much like the 1920s. I mean, actually, I take that back. I'm not sure how fond you guys are of European politics, but I don't trust Merkel. Yeah, I mean, and I think out of like all the restaurants, Julio, the Asian-based restaurants are gonna get hit the hardest. My local Chinese place, are, oh, they're getting crapped on, which is unfortunate. Like I was talking to the owner of one because he came by to drive or something, and it just people aren't coming in. People are being rude, and I'm like, mm. Got that 1920 racism. I ain't about that. But yeah, who knows? Who knows what April will bring? I mean, we got depressions, we got plagues. I don't know if I should start learning German or Russian. I'd like to say it couldn't get much worse, but like I said that in February. I jinxed it. Has somebody tried putting 2020 in rice and turning it back on. I'm gonna put a little gas. Maybe a little scrape. Maybe it's scraped up against something. Who knows? You're fighting Mecha Hitler. Who knows? People be wilding and like it's craziness right now. It's a oof. But anyways, they're like it's oof. I have a lot of Asian friends and they're getting crapped on a lot. I mean, not by people in like my old hometown because that's like a highly diverse area, but like when they're going into like certain parts because of their jobs, they're just getting shit on, and it's dumb. We treat them like people because they are people. News at 11. I've been trying to stay positive. I've been watching a lot of Bob Ross lately. Been doing shit. Been working on a lot of Gunpla. As pwned to the my work in progress table. There are a lot of shit that need to be finished. Oh yeah, no, it's never because they actually think they had something. It's because they need a scapegoat. I mean, we saw this in World War II. Everybody blamed US people for the economical depression, and newsflash, it ain't happen like that. Today on Deep Conversations, done a lot of talking. This is a very busy live stream for me. Typically, I only have like one person on here. I've been staying at home as much as I can. I've only been running out to get like food and chicken feed. Cause these fuckers are eating a lot. Like I filled up their food dish, and between like this morning and tonight, they've already eaten like this much of the feed, and like, whoa, where you packing it? Cause I don't know if you guys know Steve. I know Julio knows Steve. We saw that one today on Mechanism. But Steve, oh boy, he has been a little pig. He is no longer the smaller of the flock. Well, she's no longer the smaller of the flock. She is getting chonky. Little Julio's already going through his her molting. Keep on saying him, but they're all ladies. So she's beginning to lose her baby feathers. Showing little text, which is nice because little text is gonna be a beautiful bird. She's already looking dapper as fuck. If I didn't have paint on the desk, I'd bring one out. Maybe next live stream you guys can catch the chicks. Maybe I'll do a chicken live stream. I do the chick feed on Instagram once a week every Friday. You can walk the chickens for at least 10 good minutes while I do sit with them. Next Friday you're gonna see You're gonna see them and what happened when I give them blueberries. They completely lose their shit. It's the funniest freaking thing. They're all egg layers. They are no longer for dinner. I have managed to convince the folks to keep them all. So yeah, no, we're gonna get 6 egg layers. We got Little Julio, Little Tex, Chirpy Bee, Steel Magnolia, Steve, and Brandy? Brandy? Okay, I'll bring out a baby kick for real quick. Let me move these parts just in case they poop. Give me a second and I will grab Steve. Typically, I don't bring animals on this YouTube channel. I typically keep them for my other. Come here, Steve. Come here. No, don't fight. Don't fight. You're not gonna get anywhere by fighting. You know this. This is Steve. And as you can tell, Steve has gotten quite big. She isn't happy about me holding her, but like, I'm trying to see if I can get her to do the next thing, like on mechanism. Can I do the next thing? Ah, there we go. There we go. She's not a very happy chick right now. So this is Steve. Now, if you want to know how to hold chicks, you hold the feet so they don't think like they're gonna fall, and you gently wrap your hand around it. Okay, I gotta go. You're getting angry. She's getting angry. Always wipe your hand with a damp rag. Just because chickens carry stuff too, and there's a lot of eutonic things that can be transferred. Anyways, that was Steve, and Steve wasn't having it. I would bring out baby little Julio and little Tex, but little Julio, I'm having to use both hands to hold like this, like football wise, like this, and little Tex just isn't about being held at all. None of them like it. All my kids hate me, and I don't know why. Let me love you, damn it. Okay, let's see. What's next on the weathering agenda? Do the other shoulder. Yeah, there's some babies. There's some angry babies. Let me tell you. And Steve. Oh, Steve bullies. So Steve used to be the smallest of the flock, but like he put on some weight, and so now she's getting up there. But she bullies little Julio and little Tex, and they're twice her size. Like I'll feed him feed out of my hand like once a day, and she'll just push them all aside and just sit on top of my hand and lay on the feed and eat the feed while she's laying on it, just so the others can't get it. They're like high key dinosaurs, man. They ain't lose that dinosaur nature. No, this is still a little chipping and dry weathering. This is a chipping is a process and a half. Rusting comes. Rusting comes a little bit after a few steps. Like I'm still gonna do a wash. And a little bit of tin wash. Coolio, I just made $50. You want anything? Going to McDonald's. You guys want some nuggies? You want a Happy Meal? Do a little dry brushing on this little gunny gun. Gonna put that there. Gonna get the head, which I thought I was gonna paint up to be like an eagle, but I decided, nah, I think it would look really off with the rest of the kit. Big sad. Just little dabs go a long way. Howdy, spare time. Thanks for joining tonight. I'm glad you can make it. They got a fun little live stream going on. Plenty of deep, meaningful conversation. Anything from chickens to corrections to pigs and tanks. It's a bopping night. I know what Tiger King is that oh god, I think I know what it's about. Something exotic. Joe Exotic. I've heard it. I've heard a little bit of what happened and it just I gotta sit down. I gotta sit down and do some things. I gotta read. I'm just a little confused on the whole situation. I'm honestly waiting for Forensic Files 2 to come back on. Well, to come on to like Hulu or Netflix because Forensic Files came back. And I actually love the show. And it's nice to see something modern done in like Forensic Files. Because most cop shows, they're not accurate and they're really wrong and it gives people a really false impression about the justice field. Like, no, a detective cannot throw you up against a wall. Or no, a case isn't solved and tried in a day. It's months. Court proceedings alone take months. And that's why I only watch true crime. Yeah, no, you can't enhance a picture. You can't just zoom on a picture and suddenly it looks better. Or, just look at a body and be like, he got killed by this. When in fact, he probably did not get killed by that. I'm too educated enough to like be able to handle that. Mindhunters is the only true crime show that I can watch and be okay with. That and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Mainly because Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a nice little parody of cop shops, and plus Captain Holt is just my favorite things on Earth. Captain Hulk's amazing. Bone. Bone. Just start yelling Bone. But yeah, no, I watched Forensic Files, Homicide Detective with Joe Kenda, and all that old school stuff. What I'm not okay about. Because I did find, like, I did watch some. I've been watching a little bit of Netflix lately, and I finished up Don't Fuck with Cats. Because I knew about that case beforehand. Like, I knew about the guy and stuff. So really interesting to see how they did that. And, you know, I like how the documentary points out that most armchair detectives aren't actually good at what they do. Because solving crimes, if you don't have any knowledge of how the government works or, you know, constitutional rights, you're gonna fuck shit up. And you can screw up an ongoing investigation by doing that shit. Because there have been people who, like, I'm gonna try and solve this case by myself without the help of authorities, and then they'll screw up evidence so bad that cases get thrown out of, like, court and crap. You've seen it a little with when the whole Casey Anthony thing went on. A lot of people tried becoming detectives, and I think it just really screwed up what the prosecutor had going on. And it's just a craziness. A little bit of dry brushing. But yeah, no. This is a bopping live. It's like a bopping YouTube live stream. I think this is one of the best ones I've had in a while. If you come around next week on Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna have some guests. Like, if you're on Instagram, it's gonna be Phil Build Stuff, Zeke Genesis, John, Triple Star, Triple Thing. I don't know his full Instagram name, but there are gonna be like 4 people on here, not including me. It's gonna be bopping, might I tell you. And maybe some announcements, because if you're such like burying, you're in the Gompa Girl gang. I got stuff from brewing with text that might be in the works. I got a build off brewing with text we're gonna try and do for a new Gompa Girl event. I'm gonna try and make up a thing for it. I mean, if you're already in like the Discord, you already know what it's gonna be about. But I have to like talk to tech and like get some official stuff going on. It's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be a real fun one. You know what I'm gonna do after this? Because believe it or not, I've noticed with the Vallejo gunmetal grade that it's very quick to dry. So probably the pieces that I was working on at the very beginning of the live stream, they probably dried. Actually, I can $10 guarantee you it is dried. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna show you what I do with some of my gunk wash. Okay, it's really simple, very simple, almost so simple a caveman can do it. Then I'm gonna hop off and on a Discord I'm on, we're doing cardboard bunker group build. Really, you can't order anything online? I mean, it's like Mecca Warehouse for Gundam USA. I don't think any of the states closed their post offices. That's whack. See, in New Hampshire, where we just closed any non-essential business, but online stores are still considered essential. So I got Mecca Warehouse, but my local comic store that sells kits has to close down because they're in-person realtor, not realtor, retail, which is whack, and I hope they're able to make it. Oh yeah, I forgot about international. Because the one I go to has been open for 25 years. And I'm going to be bummed if it doesn't be able to open back up because it's really good. I bought my first model kit there. And I don't know if I told you guys the story. Let me just turn the camera a bit. There we go. Get to see my faces. Jay tells you how she got into modeling. So, I bought my first Gundam kit when I was out looking for Pacific Rim stuff, because I want to say this was, yeah, I started modeling about 2017, and I had just walked Pacific Rim for the first time. And so I go into my comic book store and I'm looking for Pacific Rim anything. Comics, doesn't matter, I want it. And I'm walking down in the aisle. Corn God, you are spoiling me, like. And so I'm walking down an aisle and there's all these boxes and it's like Gundam, Zeon, all this, all that, and I'm like, what? We got a lot of figures. Cause I didn't know they were model kits. I thought they were like full-on figures. So I grabbed like a $15 IBO one, and I take it home, and I open it up, and it's runners, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I signed up for like a figure, not this. So I end up Googling it and I end up finding out like you have to put it together, and I'm like, God damn it, I don't got nippers. So I end up using a toenail cutter for like the first two kicks I've had until I went back and the guy's like, you don't have any tools. And so he pointed me out and he showed me what to get, very basic stuff. And so when I'm able to get there, because it's like a 30-minute drive from me, that's considered my local for Gunpla. It's just one whole aisle where it's talking stacks on stacks of kits. So much that he had stacked on the floor. And his other, because he also does Warhammer and comics, and it's really great. It's very packed. It's very like chaotic, but a good chaotic. And he's helpful, and I really hope that he makes it through this, because I'm gonna be sad. Because I got all my Alien comics there. I got all my figures there. I don't get my Warhammer there though, because right by my college is a store devoted to board games and tabletop games, and they have a huge Warhammer section. Because right now I'm working on my daemonettes, the first part of my army, my Swan-S army, the daemonettes, some of them. Where's my banner lady? My lady with the banner. Because I'm basing it off of this gesture that I did. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I open the box and I'm like, what is this? And I'm holding them up and I'm like, what? What? And my dad's like, you bought a model kit. Because he used to do modeling stuff like in the 70s and 80s. And I'm like, how do I do this? I don't have nippers. And I'm like, I got toenail cutters. I got an old pair of toenail cutters. I'll use those. But now I have the handy dandy, shameless plug here, USA Gundam nippers that Adam sent out to the GGG for free when he was doing that thing, which is really nice. I love these things. They're like, I've been using them full on for a year now, and they're still as sharp of when I just got them. Just, you just gotta clip. But yeah, I didn't even start sanding nubs till I was like 6 ticks in. And I'm like, why do you need sandpaper? And then I look and I'm like, oh, there aren't supposed to be nub marks. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And I'm looking at my older ones now and I can still see the nubs. But I'm like, I'm not removing nubs until I paint them because I've been going through my old ones and I paint all the Zaku that you see are old ones I cleaned up and I painted. And then I got the Haros, and then I learned how to paint because I was telling the guys on Mechanism this one. My first Haro was my first painted Haro was this little gold dude. You can't even see him; there's too much light. Can I just? Nope. And I didn't. My grandfather had an old thing of like Tester's gold paint running around that we packed up from him, and I'm like, all right. I took a brush and I just smeared it on. I didn't know you had to thin it down. I didn't know you had to prime the kits. I mean, in all honesty, even for hand painting, it's not that bad for streaks, but like, they're not terrible. And then I found out you're supposed to prime the piece again. I'm like, all right. So I got the rattle can primer, which I know worked for some people, but I just find there's too much puddling with the cans. So I used that for a while until I got the airbrush. And that would be a game changer because I'm telling you, if you have the room in your home, get an airbrush. It's fun. I don't care who. There are people out in the community that say airbrushing is like terrible, and that they refuse to do it, and that it's like really lame. Fuck that noise. If you're not able to airbrush, that's fine. But if you're able to and you want to step up the game, get an airbrush. Cause it makes all the difference. It really does. Let's see, what else have I learned from beginning? Because it's almost 2-year anniversary for me starting in the modeling. April 26th is when I bought my first kit, and I remember that because I marked it down on my Instagram. It's been a year since I started painting because I painted this one March 24th, so it popped up on an Instagram memory. And it's been a hell of a ride for 2 years. Because I went from nubs to like fucking like I'm kid bashing now. It's the wildest fucking thing. Complete wilding. You gotta, girl, you gotta hand paint. You gotta get on that. Even if it's hand painting small details, start out small. I tell people this. If you want to learn how to hand paint, do what I do. Get yourself a Haro and paint. Haros are really, you can, like, literally, you can, gonna marry you this. Yeah, um, Haros are great for learning how to paint on. And so are bear guys. Could let me tell ya, you can do just about any sort of paint job on this. It works well with enamel, acrylics, lacquer. And hand painting, to learn how to hand paint, perfect. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, I mean, hand painting, I like hand painting too if it like small details. Would I ever hand paint something a solid color again? Absolutely not. No way in hell. But if like, hold on, I got 55 Haros I can show you. Let's see. Let's pull out this one. I haven't pulled out that one in a while. If I'm doing something like this, it's gonna be hand painted. Something like this, gonna be hand painted. Something like this, airbrushing. It's very good damn difference, and you can tell. Sorry to the people who think you can hand paint a solid kit, but there's a difference, you can tell. No offense. Um, I mean, not for airbrushing. I don't think for airbrushing it wouldn't work very well because pigments for normal paint and airbrush paint are 110% different for probably bigger. Hand painting, yes, as long as you don't prime with normal paint. If you get, hold on, I know people hate Mecha primer, so that's what I use. And testers, Vallejo puts out rattle can primers, which you just spray and you can prime. And then if you want to hand paint, you could probably go about using normal paint. Um, what kind of paint are you using? I mean, is it oil? Are you using oil or are you using acrylic-based normal paint? Because if you're using oil paints, that's going to take a hell of a long time to dry. If you're using acrylic thing, you should get a decent amount of work time with it. Not as long as you would for for like oil, but yeah, Julio, you go hard. Coin check? Is it coin check time? Pull out your coin, Julio. Uh, I mean, yeah, no, I love both. I love both hand painting and normal painting. It's an experience of a half, but I just like painting in general. If you check me on my IG, you can oil paint. Oof, oof. I cannot stand oil paint. Like, I'm taking an online certification course for abstract art put out by the Met, and I'm looking at all like the painting techniques and stuff, and a lot of these people use oil paints. William Kooning, oil paints. Um, yeah, Kusama can use oil. I think he used acrylic, but like Pollock using acrylic. Uh, Picasso uses oil, and I hate oil. Oil is terrible. I'm sorry to anybody who likes oil paints, but I am not about waiting 2 or 3 weeks for a painting to dry. Sorry, not about that life. Fight me. If I'm painting something, I want it dry as soon as I'm done. because F that noise. 2 week dry time is terrible. Yeah, oil. Yeah, oil would be terrible on plastic. I think you get the linseed oil and whatever else you thin down your oil with. I mean, I thin down oil with linseed oil and mineral spirits, and that wouldn't be absorbed by the canvas at all. Would be absorbed by the plastic at all. Acrylic, yeah. Um, I don't know what brand to use. I just use cheap acrylic paints because who can afford a $15 tube of paint? I mean, I'm watching the instructor on this course, and he's making a whole pan of paint, like a little tray, and it's all paint, and it's just like the tube he's using is a $45 tube of paint because it's a high end brand, and he just uses half of it, and he's like, yeah, just rinse it out when you're done, and I'm like, that's a lot of fucking paint waste. So if I want to waste paint on doing something dumb, use a cheaper brand. Don't be out here spending like freaking $15 on a tube of paint that you're gonna paint one heart with and you might not even like. Yeah, I use the micro paint. I got a 72 pack tube thing for like $40, and it came with like I think 45 different colors, which is nice. That's what I use. I haven't tried it on my Haros because I use model paints and I use Warhammer paint. I use Citadel and all that, but I'll have to give it a go. I think that's one we're adding on to the test book. Um, yeah, I've heard a lot of terrible things about the testers, rattle cans. Um, if you want a decent rattle can, I'd go with Citadel rattle cans because they're pretty solid. It's most of the time it's fluid color, everything. Let's see where we are at with the gunky gunk. Speaking of washing that I use, so for my tanks, I know tank people sometimes they'll make like enamel washes. I don't use enamel. Even for modeling, I don't use enamel paint and I don't use lacquer because I don't like it. So I use acrylic, and I kind of figured out how to get around the having to need oil and enamel paints for that. I use Army Paint or War Paint, Quick Shades, and I use a white tone for this because they come in like when I do my marble house, I use the blue tones and I use the purple tones, the green tones. And for those who aren't familiar with these, all this does is create shadowing effects. So it'll pull in like the crevices and like the nooks and crannies. Yeah, testers is a hit or miss. I love I have a whole little thing of like testers acrylic paints because I'm really fond of the acrylic paints. But for the rattle cans, you couldn't get me to test them with the 15-foot pole. So I take my quick shade, I put a little on the desk, get a little bit of water. Where's my water? There it is. Get a little bit of water, and you just kind of I'm not gonna add too much water to this because I want it to be a little gunky. You're gonna take your piece, right? And take your piece, and you're just gonna swap. And now, what this will do, unfortunately, is make your piece a little shiny, as you can tell. It makes it dingy, but it makes it shiny. But what I do for this, like I take a matte or satin gloss top coat, and I put it on, and it dulls it down. But typically, when I weather it, the shine goes away. But it makes it streaky. It makes it look like it's got a little bit of dirt on it. I mean, there's probably a better way of doing this, but this is how I do it. But you can still kind of see that it keeps the metallic chipping with it without making it look like super shiny. Okay, hold on, I wonder if you can tell the difference. So like dropping pieces, like the difference between a dunk walk and a non-dunk walk is just a little bit of difference, but I like it. It's a very nice first step when I start weathering. I do this on all my tanks just to give it a dunk sort of feel. I go over it in some of my tank videos if you want to check back on this channel after I'm done with this live stream. Could always hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. Julio, if you're still listening, we're chasing clout. I'm a clout farmer now. Give it a few more minutes and then we'll call it a night. I didn't realize, but it's almost 12 o'clock. So yeah, if you're wondering about my live streams, typically they're on Tuesday, Thursdays at 10 p.m. And I'm trying to work out a live stream earlier in the morning, maybe like 8 to 10 or 8 to 9. Because there's a lot of people streaming now. There are a lot of live streams going on. And I just want to fit in a schedule that won't be overlapping 50 million different live streams. Yeah, we're crowd farming now. I mean, let me get my snazzy button up, take a picture with all my backlog. Talk about how I'm going to win GBWA, but I've only built 3 kits. Mechanism was a hoot and a half, let me tell you. You still have school? Is it online? Like, all my schools in my area have like closed down. It's all online learning now. So people ain't learning shit. So let me tell you, I know half of these parents around here, they're not going to be teaching their kids. They're not going to be forcing their kids to do schoolwork. Oof, online. See, all my college classes are at like midday, so I don't have to like. One of my classes isn't even doing online meetings. He's just posting PowerPoint and saying, "Hey, learn for yourself," which blows. But he's a correctional officer. What are you gonna do? But one class, I think I have it on Mondays from 3 to 4. We do an online Zoom meeting, and then Wednesday from 3 to 5, which is nice because she's a ride and a half. I love that lady. But yeah, I'm just trying to get stuff going. I mean, this YouTube channel is going pretty well. One of my videos hit over 100 views the other day. I'm posting it and suddenly it's at 100, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Everybody at home watching YouTube. It's been really good. I'm in a Gunpla YouTubers group, and we've been talking about how everybody's been home has been affecting everybody's channels. Whole lots of numbers. Nightberry, have a good one. Uh, enjoy the link. Everybody gets a wink tonight. It's a good night. Everybody gets a wink. Um, stay safe. Don't do drugs. Don't get attacked by a bear. Just take care. Have a good one. I'm giving until 12, and then I'm calling it a night because Jay is tired. Julio, I regret drinking as much as I did last night. Let me tell you. I woke up this morning with mad heartburn. Popped down like 4 tons. I'm dying still. I'm getting old. I can't party as hard as I used to anymore. I gotta go back to hitting the gym. Warming up, deleting Facebook, hitting the gym. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's a chicken riot going on in the background. Someone's fighting. Probably Steve. Knowing her, it's probably her. But there's a quack and a half going on. I was booting up my laptop before this, and suddenly there's a bunch of noise and feathers just everywhere. I'm like, what's going on? I walk in there, and suddenly they're all laying down, and I'm like, this is some chicken run bullshit right here. They're staging a coup, let me tell you. So on next live stream, I'll be probably working on this again. If not, I'll be working on my Ava Unit Hero. Or maybe another Snatchy Kid, you never know. It's big ball in here. And with that leg all gunked up, so call this one a night. So thank you, everyone, for coming out, hanging out, for making communication happen, deep, meaningful conversation. And have a good night. Don't get attacked by bears. Don't do drugs. If the cop arrests you, make sure you ready your Miranda rights before you're interrogated. Have a good one. Thanks for coming out. I'll see you on Tuesday at 10 p.m.